Let's talk about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. There's been a decent amount of information put out there for the game, and it looks pretty great. I will say that anyone looking at Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 should definitely make sure to play the first game. It's a really good RPG, and it's more like a medieval simulator in a lot of ways. There's no fantasy aspect to the games. It's very grounded in reality. Do various tasks, or even if you're just taking part in different activities in the world, that's how you upgrade your character. So for example, if you get in a fight, your fighting skills will get higher. You swing your sword at an enemy, you'll get better at swinging your sword. Running, jumping, doing things like that will make your vitality get higher. It's the kind of system that actually rewards you for doing things, and there are a lot of different ways to play the game because of that. You could become the greatest thief in all the land, or you'd become a great archer. That does mean that there is a certain level of difficulty associated with all of these different sorts of actions because it is more leaning towards a simulator, and you'll notice that right away at the beginning. Especially combat, it can take a bit of getting used to. And your character won't be particularly good at combat at the beginning, so don't expect to take on a whole gang of bandits with your sword straight at the start, unless, of course, you're a gaming god, in which case you'll be fine, and go ahead and try it. Kingdom Come Deliverance 2 appears to be just more Kingdom Come Deliverance, which seems to be what a lot of fans of the first game want anyway. It just takes everything that they did in the first game, and it updates that a little bit. It adds more levels of simulation, things like that. You can even see in videos of the gameplay that some of the jankiness from the first game is still there, which I don't really mind. I grew up playing games like Gothic and Risen and, Eurojank games like that, so it's the kind of thing that I can look past pretty easily if the rest of the game is good. And by jankiness, I don't necessarily mean bugs, but some of the systems and the gameplay can feel a little bit clunky at times in that simulator way. Combat isn't as smooth as it would be in a lot of different games like AAA action RPGs and stuff like that. They're trying to approach it with a bit more realism, and by doing so, it can feel a bit unwieldy to people that are coming into it for the first time. A good example of that would be a simple thing like shooting a bow works differently in Kingdom Come Deliverance than it would in another RPG. Normally you'd have this nicely designed crosshair in the center of the screen where your arrows would hit, but in Kingdom Come it doesn't work quite like that. You have to get an understanding of how the arrow flies in order to know where it's going to land, depending on how you shoot and what distance you shoot. And over time, as you gain more skill using the bow, there'll be less sway that you have to contend with in doing that. It honestly feels a bit like a survival game at times. There's also, a food meter that you have to make sure to fill up whenever your character starts to get hungry. I personally felt like some of the most experiences that I had in Kingdom Come Deliverance weren't delivered through the main narrative and main quest, though those were definitely fun and interesting. I actually really enjoyed some of the side quests and just existing in the world doing various things. There's a certain quest that others may have also experienced where you meet up with a priest. You'll need to be pretty charismatic here, but you end up going through this entire sequence where your character gets super drunk with a priest. You both get into these drunken fights together, meet up with some alehouse maids, climb a bell tower, and you can kind of guess where it goes from there. The game isn't afraid to go to those sorts of places, and that's something that I really appreciate about Kingdom Come Deliverance. It isn't afraid to be what it wants to be, let you do what you want to do, and all of it through the lens of some pretty heavy simulations and systems. And there are definitely plenty of side activities to go through because this is, after all, an open world RPG. You can get into a little bit of romance, you can help to build up a town, and a lot more things like that. And the reason that I'm talking in so much detail about Kingdom Come Deliverance 1 is that that's what you can expect from Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The promise is that you'll be doing a lot of similar things to the first game, but bigger, better, and hopefully with tighter, more thought out mechanics, and that's kind of played out in what they've shown. You'll be exploring an even bigger city called Gutenberg, which is a place that gets referenced in the first game a decent amount of times. It sounds like they've really gone all out with this too. It's claimed that the second game will be twice the size of the first. Not just in things that you can do, but also in actual map size. So the first Kingdom Come game was not small. There were over 10 different towns that you could explore. So I guess we just get to double that now, somehow. There will be 2 distinct maps to explore that are each approximately the size of the first game. So needless to say, there will be plenty to explore. Even weapons get a nice revamp with the notable addition of the crossbow. They've made sure to stay very realistic, so it does take a bit of time to load a crossbow, right? But they can be very deadly if they're used properly. And combat overall has been tuned up, with the ability to parry, block, and it feels a little less clumsy this time around. They've given you a bit more reaction time, I think, something like that. With that, there will also be new combat styles for different weapons, so if you're, for example, wielding a sword, it'll now feel a lot different than using a mace. And I'm guessing that they'll have different weapon levels or different weapons masters that you'll talk to about learning those things. You'll even get the chance to use an early firearm, though they have said this is more of a opening weapon, so the thing that you use first and then you switch to your other weapons. And it's also much more rare than the other weapons, so don't expect the whole game blasting men-at-arms with your massive shotgun or something like that. They've taken a lot of care to tailor your experience to the things that you've done, and they've expanded this in Kingdom Come Deliverance too. So all of the NPCs are unique, and if you happen to piss one of them off, they'll remember that and they'll stay that way. Just think of a Telltale game or something like that. If you steal some clothes off from a pauper in Gutenberg, he won't have any clothes the next time you see him because you stole them. So choices and consequences are a big aspect of the game. And speaking of, the save system from the first game will see a return. So in order to save at any time, you need to have this item called Save Your Schnapps. If you don't have it, you need to find a place to sleep, and that's how you save. It's a bit of a pain point for me. I understand why they do it. They're trying to, keep that level of immersion and realism. They also said they'll be adding more autosave points so you don't end up losing a bunch of progress, but for anyone that the whole Save Your Schnapps mechanics bothers, there will definitely be mods to change this pretty early on, I'm pretty sure. So there was in the first game. I'll assume that there's going to be in the second. So that is most of the information that we currently have about Kingdom Come Deliverance 2. The general idea is that it'll be like the first game, but much bigger and a bit better. That'll be coming out in February of 2025, so we can look forward to that. They also have a really cool series of videos that all seems to be coming out on their YouTube channel. I'll put a link to that, so you can go check it out. They even have this live action version series of the game. You'll see what I'm talking about if you go check it out. It's really cool, a lot of fun. So go check that out. If you're excited to play this game, let me know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.